Hello, I'm Russell Myers. Welcome to And Unity for All. This one's going to be a little rambling, maybe. This is mostly for my friend to a large degree in Spain. He asked me for a video regarding the views of people outside of the United States toward us. That's kind of a difficult thing to do, because getting real opinions from people kind of relies on official media, which globally, it's not just a problem here, but globally you've got either the corporations running the media, or you've got authoritarian governments running the media. So really what I have to look at is world events, and I've pointed out globally the whole planet is on fire right now. But here's the good thing about that. When you leave the influences of the United States out of it, peace is breaking out all over, and that is the main subject of this video. And try and name any major conflict that is going on anywhere in the world right now in which the U.S. is not involved. You have lots of protests going on, but do you have any wars where we're not involved? No, there are no wars going on right now anywhere on the planet that do not involve the U.S. None. Zero. The same is held true for the last at least 20 years, possibly longer than that. Somehow we always get our nose stuck in where it doesn't belong. So let's take a look at what is happening globally and how it reflects on us. You got North Korea and South Korea holding peace talks. They bypassed the U.S. on this. Forget what Trump said, because the U.S. was not involved in those talks. If the U.S. had any kind of influence on that, then they would have been invited to those talks. And while they're talking about peace and joining their Olympic teams, what is our government doing? Talking about use of military force, and we're building up our military forces in the Gulf, right outside of Korea. They're talking peace, we're building up for war. And the world is watching. You look at Syria, they're working toward peace. The Syrian government opposes the Kurds, the Kurds are backed by the U.S., so Syria opposes them, Turkey opposes them, Russia opposes them, Iran opposes them. There would be a good chance for diplomatic talks and a peaceful solution if the U.S. was not involved. If by nothing else, that the Kurds would have no resources. And so look what happens. People sit down and talk. Most countries don't want war. Not unless there's a profit in it for them. Who makes the profit? Not the people. So they only go to war when they don't have any other option, or when they're led to believe that there's no other option. So, aside from conflicts, another conflict, look at Colombia. Years and years, decades, the Colombian government had conflict with the FARC, the rebels down in Colombia. And look what happened. They finally sat down and talked. Last I heard, it was a holding truce. I could be wrong, but for the most part, haven't heard a lot that truce has been disrupted. So, moving on from that, we've got trade. More and more countries, you've got Venezuela, Russia, all these countries that are increasing trade, not only for oil, but for other things, between Russia and China and South America and now Japan, expanding, signing deals and making plans for expanding trade. Mostly with Russia, but that will involve the China One Belt, One Road initiative for transport of goods. So you're going to have peaceful trade between Japan and Russia and involving China. The more that they find that they can conduct amicable trade without conflicts and without some giant sword, Damocles sword hanging over their head, which is all that we have to offer. They're not suffering, they're not being held under threats of economic sanctions, which is all we have to offer. The more they're able to make diplomatic, amicable trade agreements, the more and more peace is breaking out globally, as long as we're not involved. This is not an illusion. The more that America steps back or is forced to step back or is just excluded, the more the world is watching and seeing what the source of the conflict is. Anytime an American president goes to another country, there are massive protests. And that's not just Trump. It was happening with Obama too. It definitely happened with George Bush. It's been going on for decades. When I was in Germany in the 1980s, there were protests right outside of my post. Almost every weekend, there were anti-American protests. So that was over 30 years ago. This is not new. This is telling you what the rest of the world thinks of us. When you get beyond American mainstream media and the propaganda machine, I wouldn't go so far as to say we're hated, but our presence and our involvement in the running of other countries is not well liked. The petrodollar system has been despised for 40 years. The impact that it has on people's lives has been despised for over 40 years. So this is what I gather the worldview is of America. They may love Americans, but they do not love our government. The only ones that do are the ones that are making a profit off of our government somehow. And yes, the other countries, some people in other countries make a big profit off of our government. But if our government went and our military was removed, they'd find another way to make a profit. They were making a living before we were there. They'll make a living when we're gone. And there is a time coming when we are going to be gone from those other countries, because the other countries are going to demand it, because the people of those countries are going to demand it. It is going to happen. Not soon, but it's going to happen. Especially the more and more peace breaks out all over. So what do we do? There's not much that you and I can do on this one. Just vote the right people into office. Stay involved. Stay informed. Stop believing the propaganda. And that's really all I got to say on the matter. You can go to other countries, and most other countries you will be welcomed as an American. People love our spirit, but they don't love our government, because they are two very different things. So, all right, well, please share this video. Please hit like and subscribe. If you can, please become a patron on Patreon. Keep fighting for peace. Our government can sign on to what is happening and join in the peace process, or we can keep doing what we're doing, which the entire world is rejecting. In larger and larger numbers, it is snowballing. They are rejecting our economic sanctions and our weapons. You know, we can sell all the weapons we want to them, that our government wants to sell to them. But when the people of the country object to those weapons being used, you've got a whole different picture. All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good day.